Welcome to the Beautiful Game. As always, I'm Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
I got my beer and my hate cake. I'm ready.
Ooh, it's been a long time since the hate cake's been served.
Ooh, Lord.
On tonight's episode of the Beautiful Game, we're going to discuss Klopp's shock announcement. That's not why Ron is so upset, but his shock announcement last week to leave Liverpool at the end of the season. And then we're going to talk about Maidstone United doing it again. And who else is joining Maidstone in the fifth round of the FA Cup? We're going to look at that. And then we're going to blow the halftime whistle as the accounting.
Oh, wait. I was waiting for today's match to write Ron a segment today. I was like, I didn't change it from last week.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I have to remember that the game's today, and depending on how the game goes, I write it. So come back to that.
Wait a minute.
Right before Ron's beer news, I will have it updated. I promise.
You update one. I got one off the hip.
Go ahead.
All right. You write one.
Okay.
For the later one and get it in there. For the Chancellor of the Chelsea Chorizo, we will have Ron with our beer news. You can come up with a better one. I was just trying to.
Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. For the Jota of the juice, the Bradley of the burger, the Slobosai of the steak, and the donkey of the Diaz, Ron.
Oh, God. That's right. Ron joins us with his beer news.
Ferris, I hope when you are walking to your bed tonight that you stub your toe really, really hard.
You'd be surprised how often I've done that on the damn edge of my bed. So,
yeah, I'm curious what Ron has to say about this because he was going into the match saying we're going to lose, but then the hate cake still came. But we're still going to get some of Ron's delicious beer news, all the news that's fit to drink. One day I'll remember to keep saying that tagline. And then we're going to close out with the La Liga's roundup. Yeah. But first, our beer. Mr. Keller, you said you're kicking the beer off.
Sure.
Or just a straight up bottle of scotch, or how you doing?
Oh, it's, it's beer. So the next best thing I'm pretty sure we've had these guys on New Holland Brewing in Holland, Michigan. We're doing Ye Olde Dragon's Milk Imperial Double Stout. Going right for it. 11% ABV. Because I just need to drink all this and I forget the Chelsea match had happened today. But if you go to their website, newhollandbrew.com, you can see all the cool beers they have. Their tap room looks really pretty cool. But they describe Dragon's Milk, the Imperial Double Stout, as throughout the ages, Dragon's Milk has been used as a term to describe potent ales and elixirs worthy of celebration, a reward at the end of the journey. We are proud to be stewards of this ancient tradition today by handcrafting each batch of Dragon's Milk bourbon-aged stout in Holland, Michigan, the best liquid in our house and now in yours. Roasted malt delivers notes of coffee and chocolate married with sweet undertones of vanilla and oak from a 3-month stay in bourbon barrels. And I'm going to drink it all in one shot.
There he is. That's why.
That sounds fantastic. You know what? I feel like mine is kind of thematic to Ron's because it's a seasonal beer. It's late. It's a late fall beer, but it's one I had to get. One in honor of the fact I've been working on a bunch of stuff for Halloween lately where I'm working out in Connecticut. I know, Ferris, you just had a fun monster makeup mash thing that you were working on.
Yep.
So in honor of that, Count Brucula is back. And that is right. With a beer that is sorry it is late for the Halloween times, but I had to buy it because it is from our favorite brewery, the Allagash Haunted House.
Oh, I'm a little jealous right now.
That is right. You're going to get more jealous when I say what it is. So this is Doomed by a Love of Pitch Black Porters, our Allagash house beer. We summoned the recipe of a haunted house, roasted barley, and Black Prince malt, cursed the beer with a gravy dark hue, hopped with crystal, chinook, and saz hops. This beer ends with a ghost of coffee-flavored bitterness and a hauntingly complex malty palate with an ABV, gentlemen, of 6.66%. Nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome, man.
I freaking love this company.
That's
Heck
great.
yeah.
They had one left on the shelf. I went, I'm going to snag that.
Mine.
Yeah.
God,
You gotta
stuff,
love when you
little
find
jealous.
those single last ones, right? Like that time we found the last bottle of Anchor Steam in Central Florida, right? You just gotta, you just, it's mine.
I just call beer gold, right? You just kind of,
Right?
Beer,
you search and you find it.
a hoppy dark ale. I'm stoked for this one.
That sounds great, dude. The only thing that mine and yours hasn't common is there's a little bit of green and stuff on the can, but this is a Ferris wasn't even sure if he could pod. Let's see what's probably the oldest thing in the beer fridge that he can pull out and have beer. But a damn good brewery. And you know what? It's not at least 4 years old because this brewery was only established in 2020 in the Tampa Bay area. Woven Waters, which is a Woven Water Brewing, which is a fantastic brewery out of Tampa, right there in the mix of Angry Chair and oh Lord, the one other one just to do the can art. I can't remember, but anyway, right in like the main brewery area there of Tampa. Hidden Springs was the one I was thinking about. Right around that area. Darn good brewery. You can head over to wovenwaterbrew.com. And this is Phototonic. It is a 7.2% blurry IPA, i.e. hazy IPA, with Strata, Mosaic, HBC 586 hops. It is dry hopped. Not a whole lot of info on this. They do have it for sale in the brewery right now in 4-packs. Kind of a slick site, slick and simple because not a whole lot on their site, but it has a gorgeous view of a bit of the Tampa Bay skyline there. In this gold and black, and then just has a homepage, what's live what's a live tap list showing in the tap room, swag and to go, and contact. Easy breezy, man.
Love it. And I should have mentioned because you said where, but the Allagash is in Maine. Since I did not mention,
but you're not far from now.
Nope. I think Ron did the math already. It's not that far away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's
all right.
3.5 hours.
Boom, let's do this.
Can I just chug it right out of the bottle?
Hey, man, you are home. You're not driving anywhere. Go for it. All right.
Oh my gosh, Ron, you know how like there is a certain smell to the hop situation of Allagash?
Yes.
Like you can just tell an Allagash beer, maybe not so much the white, but like the doubles and the triples and stuff.
Right.
This, and I know the Allagash double we really liked. It smells like a hoppier version of their double.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah. Woo. Excellent head retention. Look at that.
Hey, we're drinking out of the same glass there, senor.
There you go. Got our little New Belgium Brewing glasses from back in the day.
Yep. Oh, I can't wait.
Cheers, gents.
Cheers, boys. Still tastes good.
Well,
that's caramelly and dark, but then a hop kick at the end. It really is like a hoppy version of their double. That is awesome.
this is everything as advertised. You definitely taste the alcohol, but you really get the coffee and the chocolate, and then the sweetness from the vanilla. Just, it's like a tidal wave at the end of the palate. It is so good.
Hey, this is a hazy IPA, man. Hazy as can be. Dry hops, just a nice, clean finish. It has some sediments in it, but that could just be from it being as old as it is. I'm not quite sure. So
Yeah, it probably settled a little.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's good.
It's
Mine is flipping delicious. I mean, really good.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance, you got to pick up some of this dragon's milk. It is so flavorful over the entirety of your palate.
We've had the regular one, right?
Yes, just not the bourbon barrel aged, which is where that vanilla kind of comes from.
Well, this is
so
legit.
good.
Like, I haven't had an Allagash double in a while, so I'm feeling like I need to get one back on the pod in a bit for comparison. But this has that Belgian smell, and I was looking on their website. I love how it lists, all the hops and everything, but in the ingredients, their yeast, the house yeast. That that's
awesome.
like a lockdown thing.
Yeah.
Guarded and
yeah, they cultivate that themselves.
Man, this is one of the best beers I've had in a long time.
I'm telling you, man, Allagash, favorite domestic brewery.
Oh, man, I do. Oh, God, that's good. Oh, woo. Well, it's going to be, want to take a hike this weekend? Well, prayerfully, finally, it's not going to rain. It's going to be sunny and it's 20 degrees. Ooh. So maybe we'll trip to a brewery instead or something. I'm not going to, I was excited about a little like 35, 38 degree cold weather hike. Nah, not 20 degrees. I live here now. I'll come check out. I'll go walk these state parks later. All right, gents. Well, Ron, before you get depressed, do you want to give us our Ray Hudson ceremonial quote to kick us off?
I do. This, to me, describes Liverpool's attacking play in the Chelsea match today.
Excellent.
Here we go. This man separates from the defenders easier than a tissue on a toilet roll.
And did you say who he was referring to in that?
It doesn't. I just have a massive amount of quotes, and it doesn't specifically say who it's about. But it's likely Ronaldo or Messi. That's who most is.
Usually, yeah.
I mean, Ron, I sent you the pictures of my beer since it's a haunted house, and I tried to give you some Dutch angles in there.
Yes.
Some nerds.
Love a good Dutch.
All right.
Whoa, extreme Dutch.
45
Dutch.
Dutch.
You went heavy to the left.
Yeah, I still got to set up my little my picture taking joint up in here, but yeah, I'm very happy to get my studio up and running like normal, and my cool standing desk so I can be healthy while I drink the beer. I shouldn't be having right now. All right.
And before you say, I will admit something on kind of peek behind the curtain. I actually opened up a different beer. Not that I love Woven Waters. I've either had it far too long, or this glass was like caked in some like invisible dust, because there's some bottom there that don't look right.
Ron, did you just see that?
I don't know if you can even
camera, dude. No, lift it up.
I'm gonna try to.
There you go. You can see
all
it.
that.
That's not right, dude. That ain't.
Yeah, I know. So I was like,
that's not yeast sediment. That's you got a colony of something living.
They have fantastic beers. They do IPAs extremely good, and they do some good sours. So it's by no means anything on the brewery. I've had this again. How long it's been in the beer fridge, I don't know, because I originally had a 4-pack, so I was down to 1, which means I had some at some point. Might even have it on the pod. Who knows? But,
Ferris, speaking of good beers, I thought about you the other day. It's always funny because like I can't have a sour and not think of Ron, but the workplace took us out to Kinsman Brewery and they're buying. So I tried as much as I could. And they made a honey sour that was done with grapefruit, orange, and honey. It was the least sour thing I've ever had. It was like drinking champagne beer.
I don't know if I've ever had like a sour with that stuff in it. That's great.
Yeah, same. They're so good. You guys got to come up for a visit so we can hit breweries. Good gosh.
Heck yeah. I just cracked a 8.2% Skyway hazy double IPA that I think I had on the pod a few weeks back from Green Bench that I know is darn good. So that was the other beer that I cracked.
Chunky one just to see what it tastes like.
I had a few sips and then I just happened to look at the bottom because I was seeing all the sediment going in there and I was like, it's caked at the bottom. I ain't never seen it like that.
You got to take a picture of that. We're going to put that on the site.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, whatever.
You got to do it.
Yeah, you do. All right. Well, Good to see you. So my wife just floated in. I texted her. I was like, you got to come in here and try this beer because it's the only one we have. This is a must-have. Well, moving on to the football. Guys, is it weird to like everyone at work wants to talk to me about the playoffs? And I think I am about fully converted at this point where
Playoffs?
Didn't know anything about the NFL right now. And it just struck me just now when I just said football. I am out of touch. I look back at the matches, they come at games, and was like, oh, these are some pretty good games. I did follow the Bills for Ron's sake, but like, man, I'm just like, I'm way out of touch with it.
Yeah, we beat ourselves as usual.
What is it? To the right. What is
Wide
it? Wide
right.
and to the right.
Wide to the right.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's a gentleman that more often than not gets him down the middle. Klopp's announcement that he is going to be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. Dang it. I should have had my guitar ready for little, it's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me.
You know what? Actually, hold up. We're going to have a call out here.
Yeah.
Tony sounds good. Good friend of the pod. Ron and I just had a beer with him on Sunday.
Yeah. Liverpool
write us
fan.
a little before the end of the season, so there's no time constraints. He's a very good and big guitar player. Give us a little guitar made song with some good lyrics.
Yeah,
If I can do a candlelight vigil for Zlatan's bicycle free kick.
Well, I wish I could rewind a good made written song, guitar song.
Sure.
With lyrics like you just said the most complicated phrase.
Yeah.
Hey, could you write a song that's like an ode to Klopp? Like
that would have been easier. Listen, I got my beer that I don't know what I'm a mess here. I'm spinning around. I don't know what's going on. But yes, Tony, if you could write us a song with accompaniment of a guitar to thank Klopp and wish him best of luck.
I was going to ask for Tony to do like a cool cover of Leaving Liverpool. You threw down the gauntlet, like write a song, dude.
Yeah. Well, it's just
it doesn't have to be
something short.
It doesn't have to be long.
I think it's a great idea.
Anyway, sorry, Blake.
So last Friday, the greater football world woke up to the news that the legendary Liverpool manager, Jurgen Klopp, giver of the greatest hugs, announced that he would be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. Klopp, in an exclusive interview with Liverpool TV, is quoted as saying, I will leave the club at the end of the season. I can understand that that's a shock for a lot of people in this moment when you hear it for the first time, but obviously I can explain it, or at least try to explain it. I love absolutely everything about this club. I love everything about this city. I love everything about our supporters. I love the team. I love the staff. I love everything. And he had said he's at least taking a year off. It's not like he's turning around and going to another job or anything like that.
Right. And when he was questioned, he said that there is no way he could ever manage another English club other than Liverpool.
No, I can't ever see that happening. Mm-hmm. He's going to take a year off and he's back to Dortmund. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I hope.
I think he's going. I think he would go to the German national team, go to the World Cup.
That's a good shout too. Yeah,
that is a really good shout. And that's our question. Just thoughts on this in general. That's a really good call.
I think everybody's thought is like it came out of left field.
So allegedly,
or seemingly to us, it came out of left field.
There's a whole group of people. I've been reading a lot since the announcement, and there's quite a group of people who kind of saw this kind of coming, because there's a lot of things that allegedly Klopp was kind of releasing control over, including things like what the team is going to do in the off season, and meaning like, where they're going to go. Are they going to the US? Are they going to the, UAE or Asia or whatever? Also some different training things that he kind of released control over. And the other one was specific parts of recruitment that he kind of backed out of. So allegedly, people that are much closer to the team than we are, apparently saw this coming. To me, it was a shock. Quite sad because he's probably one of the best personalities we have left in the Premier League right now.
Well, and just like
not just the Premier League, but the world's game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to also say he's rebuilt when he went to Liverpool were like a 10th place team, and he's brought them up by their bootstraps without a massive spending spree for new players. He brought them a bunch of trophies, rebuilt the team a second time.
Their first ever Premier League.
Yeah, in what?
Well, they had won the top flight, but not since it was the Premier League.
Right. But they won the top flight for the first time in like 30 years.
It's something like that.
So, Ron, I'm going to, because I saw this earlier, so I wanted to pull the number up to your point. This is the sports Bible right now, but just looking at the Reds' success under Klopp was achieved during his tenure with an overall net spend of $254 million. That's
it.
That's
incredible. Yeah.
I mean,
Chelsea sneezed through that in half of a transfer window.
I think, and that's net spend. I think two players cost that much, right? Is it something like Fernandez and Casado are both somewhere in that range?
Well, here you go, Ferris, to that point. Meanwhile, Manchester United net spend during that time in the past 9 years, $888 million, and Arsenal and Chelsea have totaled $692 million and $835.7 million, respectively.
Wild.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, and some obviously some great players come through, but he won a Premier League, an FA Cup, the Chupacabra Cup. He was runner up to that cup at one of his earlier seasons in 2015-16. FA Community Shield, a UEFA Champions League runner up to Champions League twice, UEFA Super Cup winner, FIFA Club World Cup winner, and Europa League runner-up winner. So he, not the biggest trophy cabinet from some of the legends of the game, but how he transformed that club, how he brought them a Premier League title, how he brought in what are going to be legends of not only the Premier League, but the club in a Salah, Firmino, Mane, Van Dijk, so on and so forth. How he did it all in the time frame that he did it all and what he did it all and the style that he did, absolutely fantastic. And I don't think any of us would be shocked to hear that Liverpool announced that they're going to build a statue out front of him, because that would be well deserved.
So, is he the best manager Liverpool ever had?
Probably Dalglish. Just we're off the cuff, not really looking at any, I don't surprised to tell you guys, I don't know Liverpool's history as well. But
why, you love Liverpool?
Yeah.
Oh, your enemy?
But I would I'm probably forgetting some names, but Dalglish kind of was the first to mind. So I'd have to look at stats there, but I think it'd be hard to argue at this point against it, just to base on how he turned that club around and what he did to get them to a level of dominance. It kind of sucks for him in a way that Pep came in at the same time and oil funds bought into Man City, but how he's pushed those teams, how he won it despite those teams at times. He's certainly in the combo as the best ever to coach Liverpool.
He was very forward about saying he didn't have the energy, and I mean 9 years, everything you just said accomplished, and we're going to talk about another European coach a little bit later, who is stepping down, and what he had to say about, just working in top level football. Though the world has been kinder to Jurgen Klopp. I get it, man. That's it's a lot. 9 years. I know he said he wants to take the time off, spend time with his family. It's I don't know. I had one of those oh my gosh, but I get it. You've accomplished a lot too. You can be peace and.
Well, also according to a lot of reports, when Klopp got in there, part of his deal was that he wanted more control over a lot of parts of the club that a manager may not have as much control over at different clubs, right? He had his hands in the marketing. He had his hands in schedule stuff. He had his hands in, where the team was going to go train in the off season. I mean, it just wasn't managing the people and making strategic decisions. He kind of reached throughout so many levels in that club that essentially the ex-sporting director said, "I'm here to support Klopp," right? And your sporting directors it's normally the other way around, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that also the sporting director's leaving even earlier than Klopp, and Klopp's staff are going too. So this is going to be kind of a big rebuild from a front office kind of standpoint for Liverpool.
Here comes Jose Mourinho.
I can just hear friend of the pod Anthony going, "I thought we were friends, Blake."
Well, and to from a point that we were in our extra that we have with the boys. I thought Tony made a astute point in the fact that you wonder we're speculating here, but how he kind of talked and some of the things he said, I wonder if there's not some sort of underlining health issue there, and it may be something as simple as the stress level and pressure and all those things that you could equate to being a top level coach in the game like this.
Doctor was like, you gotta quit coaching or stop drinking beer. And that said, well, I guess I'm not giving up beer. You know where I'm from?
Exactly. But he's only 56, right? That he will get another managerial job. I would bet, a year's salary that yes, and most any team in the world would hire him at this moment in time. But I think he's doing it his way. He's going out and his way. He's leaving Liverpool in a good position, right? They could win the title this year. They could win the FA. Are they still in the FA Cup?
Yes.
Still in the FA Cup.
Or Carabao Cup versus Chelsea. Coming up.
So they could still win 3, right? Like the domestic 3. But he's leaving them in a good place in terms of the rebuilding the midfield, which is starting to to look strong with Endo, McAllister, Sobasai. They have Will Van Dijk stay. That's been kind of up in the air right now, but there's a good core back there. So it's not like he's leaving the team in a very, very bad shape under scrutiny of a lot of different things. He's doing it in his way, and when he decides to come back to the game will welcome him with open arms.
Yeah. Or man, if he just F's off and hikes some mountains in Germany and drinks some beers and hangs out, God bless.
Starts like a TikTok page or a YouTube page.
How he said, he's like, I got to worry about a job. Thank you, Liverpool. You know what I mean? Like he was, he's.
I would love to see him on the German national team.
Klopp,
it's a really good show.
Open up a beer house in Germany. We're there for a grand opening. Yeah. Come on.
Orlando needs a good beer house, like a German beer house.
So here's house. We call it the Klopp house.
Blake,
right?
Winner.
We call it the Klopp house, and we save a bar stool with his name on it, and no one else is allowed to sit there.
No one ever sits there.
And then we invite him for when he's in the States. You've always got a home at the Klopp house.
Mm-hmm. It's a good idea when even Ferris like, I might invest in that.
Oh, absolutely. I would. Hey, listen, as I'm scrolling through some of his past things, he did a hell of a job at Dortmund. He won consecutive league titles there. He just always had respect come in. I hated that he went to Liverpool, obviously, but the talent and what he's brought to the game both in Germany, in the biggest league in the world, and doing it on the biggest league in the world, and how he's formed the team, how he helped Dortmund out during those years, all those things. He is just a class, very, very good, legendary manager of the game of soccer.
So the last match that they have against Man City is at the post game interviews. Is Pep going to cry at it? Talking about Klopp,
he might. Yeah, he might.
I agree. That's my over under.
Yeah. They went at each other not only in England, but when Pep was over Bayern, they were going at each other in Germany there. So. Yeah, I think he will, and it's odd timing because you wonder now if we're talking games that are being played, is it going to really rally the troops? Is it really going to rally to get them forward, or is it going to be a distraction along the way? And probably the latter will win, is it will rally the troops and the players will want to play for him to finish out the season, but kind of an odd timing with so many games left in the season.
I know we need to move on, but Ron, what's the over under that Klopp made his announcement, and then on his little private Snapchat to his old boss, Arteta zaps Pep and's like, how are you feeling? I mean, you want to take a break too? Like, you doing right here? Like, you've been here long enough, right? You and Klopp gonna go do something together? Could you imagine Pep announced he was out of the industry? Because that's been the conversation too, right? Like, when's that guy going to, he's done lots too. When's he going to step out?
Yeah. A lot of people thought it was going to be last year after the triple.
I think that's the shocker part to me, is to see Klopp make the announcement prior to Pep. I think I would have thought,
probably
Pep on first, but Klopp, cheers, bro. What a cool, you want to have a beer. You just want to have a beer with the guy.
Prost, buddy.
All right. All righty. Tip. Is Klopp and Pep the only two managers still here from since we started our podcast?
In their job, at their higher jobs?
Right. Not being a manager at another place, but like,
I think it's a good shot.
Probably.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
I'm going through the league table. I think you might be right.
Yeah, at the same place. Yeah, not like Potts or something, but like, yeah, he might. I think Klopp and Pep, right? They're only two.
Probably.
I think you're right. Right.
Mm-hmm. Anywho, let's move on down to, just what makes the game great. National League South side, Maidstone United has done it again. Fourth in the National League South, which again, is that the sixth lead below the Premier League, Ferris?
That's extremely far down.
Yeah. The next, you're
in non-league at that point.
You're non-league at that point. So Maidstone United, fourth, I think you're right. Fourth in the National South. Once again performed a hell of a cup set. Nice. This time on Saturday, kicking off the day's matches with a 2-1 win over Ipswich Town, who currently sit second in the championship and are trying to get into the Premier League. What an absolute victory and a story it's been so far for former player and now manager George Elokobi and his Maidstone United side. But gentlemen, the real question, as I throw it over to our correspondent Ferris,
what? It's the FA Cup. What's the difference in the league places between Maidstone United and Ipswich Town, gentlemen? Closest to whole wins $500 million trillion.
Yes.
Oh, no, move from that. No more points.
Mm-hmm. You go first, Blake. You won the match. It's the FA Cup this year. So yeah, because you got 1 million trillion points at the end.
You did. Yeah. So you have a lot.
77.
77. Right. I'm going to say, let's see. Hang on, I got to take off my socks. 4, 10, 14, 86, 97.
Oh, Ron, one off from the hole. That's like putting it right there. And then it's a nice
I left the league out.
98 places.
Oh.
Well done, Ron.
7 million
trillion, 100 trillion points. Well done. Well done. Give yourself a little round of applause on the old fancy board there.
You say it like my daughter does when she has a large number, 100 million, 100 trillion, million, trillion.
Just keep going. don't even matter. But I mean, this is like a number, 16 seed going to like, not quite the Final Four, but like the Sweet 16 of, the dance here in the States. This is huge.
That happens more.
It does. And you know what? It might be happening more here in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Did either of you watch the match?
It was early, so I did not. I caught the afters, so no, I did not.
Same here.
I did. It was in the background while I was taking care of the little one. And the momentum was incredible for Maidstone. You could just see that even though they didn't have the money that the other team has, or the necessarily the skill that the other team has, these guys just wanted it more.
Dude, I think Blake's probably looking at the stats and the shot sheet. You go ahead, Blake.
Ron is saying that, and absolutely, I pulled up and I was like, "You're not only." I thought this is what you were saying. Not only did the stats, but you took the money, the talent, dude. The stats: team shots, Ipswich 38,
to
2, 13 shots on target by Ipswich, 2 on target from Maidstone. Again, just a reminder: the score was 2-1. Possession 79% for Ipswich, 21 on Maidstone. Passes 680 for Ipswich, 200 for Maidstone. Pass accuracy 87% for Ipswich, 49% for Maidstone. Good God, they had 11 corners for Ipswich. Maidstone had none.
Yeah, but you know what the biggest thing is here, and to Ron's point, if they want more, it's not like Maidstone United got like a last minute header to win the game, right? Because you could still play. If you draw, you could still have to play again in this round, that alone would have been a great achievement for them. But they were the first to score, and a non-pen in the 43rd. Then shortly after half, Ipswich tied it up at 56, and then 10 minutes later, Maidstone came back and scored. So it's not like...
What's even crazier is in my opinion, after Ipswich leveled it up, you thought, okay, here's where they're going to start turning the screws and really start taking over this game. But Maidstone didn't let that happen. They were not deflated by that equalizer in the least. They still challenged for every ball. They still put everybody under pressure. And then, like you said, 10 minutes later, they took a beautiful shot to get 2-1 up.
And on the road of all things, too, at Portman Road, I started to laugh as I bring it up on Google Earth. Across the street is Streaky Sweets and Savory Treats.
Awesome.
But yeah, at Portman Road in Ipswich, they were playing away, so it's not like they were playing with their own fans too. Just what an incredible job that they're doing. I think they're only 4th in what was it, the National League South? So just absolutely unbelievable.
Do we know who they're going to play next?
Oh, we do. Well, we might. That's a good segue there, Ron. We will get to that. As they kick us off on Saturday, but there were matches on Thursday and Friday as well. Bournemouth beat the living snot out of Swansea City 5-0 on Thursday, so they're going through. And then we had a slew of draws, including one of yours there, Ron, with Chelsea.
Yep.
0-0 against Villa. So they'll have to play again. I believe Chelsea has to go to Villa in that one. Bristol City and Nottingham Forest played a 0-0 draw out. They have a new addition in Nottingham, which we'll get to later in the pod. Another replay being played is Sheffield Wednesday and Coventry City. And then Man City broke a really weird stat, and they haven't scored at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in like an exorbitant amount of time, more the time than you would think. But they finally get one at the death, and a Nathaniel Aki goal to make it 1-0, and they knock Tottenham out. So Man City going through. Maidstone, as I said, played early on Saturday, so they were the opener. Luton beat Everton 2-1. And then wait till you hear the result of what the team that they beat midweek this week. They are having themselves an absolute time right now. What a week for them. Tom Locklear, their captain, who suffered, unfortunately, yet another collapse on the field due to his heart. Had showed back up in the not on the field. He's not playing yet, but showed up there at the stadium and the locker room and that sort of thing. Leeds and Plymouth Argyle 1-1, so they'll play a replay. Leicester City and Birmingham City 3-0. I believe Vardy got himself a goal in that one, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, sure did. He was the first. Brighton and Hove, or Sheffield United, two Premier League clubs going back and forth. 5-2 to Sheffield United. Brighton were up 2-0 in this game, and then Sheffield came back, tie at 2-2. And then it's like Brighton said, okay, I have a faster car. Just put the pedal down a little bit further, and whew, they were gone. Newcastle 2-0 over Fulham. Newcastle on a good little run here too, but goals in both the first half by Longstaff and second half by Byrne. Just a professional job there from Newcastle. So then we go over to Sunday. West Brom, Wolverhampton 2-0. West Brom. Some not friendly sights there, as there was a bit of a tussle, if you will, near one of the ends of the game. So the game had to be, that had to be addressed before the game could really start to get going. Then Watford took on Southampton. They'll play a replay with a 1-1 draw there. And then Liverpool up against his good mate and David Wagner, Klopp's first game since the announcement. They beat, as you thought they would beat, Norwich City by a scoreline of 5-2, though.
At least Norwich scored two.
Mm-hmm. What's crazy to me in this too? 5 different goal scorers in this. We had joked about the game today. 4 different goal scorers in that. So they're getting a plethora of goals, not just from one person. It's almost like Salah's not there. Okay, we'll all just put the ball in the net, right?
We'll just step up for him.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, reminiscent of a few years ago when they won the league, when it was like it didn't matter. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I watched it again at the German joint because Dortmund was playing at the same time, but Man United somehow saw out a win against Newport County, who was the second lowest side in the FA Cup. United were up 2-0 quick. They conceded 2, and then got 2 in the 68th and 94th. So United getting the job done there. Surprised me even saying that, because it was just like, okay, they're going to lose probably 4-2, and then all hell's going to break loose and yada, yada, yada. And then the last match played on Monday, the fun story of Wrexham. Good early goal, man. They're up 1-0 inside of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it went to hell in a handbasket from there. Is Blackburn just too much after that. And the championship side went on to win 4-1. Just a little bit of heartbreak for them, but they have at least Wrexham advanced out of the third round. They're up a league, so they probably don't need those extra games happening as they're trying to tend to the league and ensure that maybe they can go for a second promotion. We shall see. Yeah. In terms of your draws, here's how it's going to play out with a lot of replays, taking place. So some of these they'll either play them or they'll play them. They'll play them or or they'll play them. But I just had it up. So sorry. Bournemouth will take on Leicester City, so a former Premier League match. Blackburn will take on Newcastle United, so a not a northern derby, but 2 northern clubs going head to head, and a game of old as Blackburn used to be in the Premier League. Yes, sir.
Did you say Bournemouth and Leicester City? That's 5th round.
Yeah. Sorry, the draw. I'm sorry, the draw for the next round.
Oh. I thought you meant.
Yes. So this would be what the 6th. This would be the 5th round. Because we just concluded the 4th round. So
yes.
5th round. Yep. Manchester United get a favorable draw, all things considered, as they could go up either against Bristol City or Nottingham Forest. Chelsea or Villa could go through against either Leeds or Plymouth Argyle. So that's a good one. Liverpool have to kind of await their fate, as they could either play Watford or Southampton. So two championship teams. Southampton, they know a little bit more than Watford, but they knew Watford. But nonetheless, you should see them through on that. Manchester City and Luton. So two Premier League clubs going off. Kind of wish that Luton maybe would have gotten somebody else and continued to advance. And they still might, obviously. But they get the Giants in Man City. You were kind of hoping that this next team would have gotten Man City. If Maidstone United would have gotten Man City, and they all were hoping for it. I don't know if you watched any of the things online.
Have been so good.
Where they were like sitting around really wanting like a big gun, right? A Man City, a United, it's not something like that. And then they get either Sheffield Wednesday or Coventry City. So not the most juicy of ties that they probably were hoping for, but a winnable game, right? Yeah. A winnable game for them. So they really are not just, it's not an easy pre-game speech of like, hey, you're playing Man City. You guys know, let's just have fun. Just go do what you do. Let's go. No holds bar, right? Now you actually have to game plan a bit because you might get away with a win in this.
Right.
And then you might get Man City in the next round. And then a all Premier League game as Wolverhampton Wanderers will take on Brighton Hove Albion. In terms of the game itself, that will probably be the best game of the tie, but we shall see coming up in the 5th round of the FA Cup. And that's all due to take place at the end of the month on February 28th.
Craziness. I love the FA Cup. You get some of the craziest matches. You get great Cinderella stories. It's all so fun. The old halftime whistle.
For the Chancellor of the Chelsea Chorizo.
Whatever I said in the openings, I can't remember. I have to go back and look at who scored goals against Chelsea.
The Joda juice. I don't know. I was like that.
It was the Joda juice of the Jodas, the Yoda, the Yankee, the.
Okay. Enough with the names. It's much better when you have them premeditated.
Is it though?
Premeditated names.
So, an interesting shout for beer news, gentlemen. Olympic sponsorship deal with beer company AB InBev.
Okay, that's not a surprise.
Criticized
okay. Let's continue.
As cynical and an odd pairing. So, the IOC, which has not had an official beer partner in the history of the Olympics, according to the CNN report by George Ramsey today, is now a thing of the past. So they have a beer partnership. This partnership, from our perspective, is a perfect match, says a representative of the IOC. The joy of sport and the joy of life. The only problem is not everyone has welcomed the news of this partnership. This partnership covers the next 3 Olympics and Paralympics. So we have Paris, we have Milan Cortina, that's how you say it, and then Los Angeles. Campaign groups have pointed out the incongruity of an event like the Olympics, perhaps the world's biggest sporting event, rubbing shoulders with a beer company. Alcohol and the Olympics is certainly an odd pairing, given that the athletes competing at this top level do not drink alcohol at all as they prepare to take part in the games. So says Andrew Meisel, the director of Alcohol Change UK, in a statement to CNN. I wonder if that's true. Do you really think the athletes don't drink?
Didn't they already talk about like the Olympic Village and all the condoms they had to give out? Like when they're done, they're partying. When they're done.
When they're done, I don't. In the midst of competition, are they? Probably not. But like,
this is a really dumb statement. They don't eat McDonald's and drink Coke either, probably. But
but we're gonna do McDonald's, right? You don't want to pile down a Big Mac and then go do a 4K, 5K, 6K, 10K, whatever they do.
Marathons.
Shot put, probably
javelin.
I'll Big Mac the hell out of this thing and then just throw it.
No one has a Big Mac before a javelin.
It seems like an odd complaint to me.
It does.
I mean,
it's also
based on previous sponsors. I mean,
yeah.
Also, if you consider that the last Summer Olympics in Tokyo was watched by more than 3 billion people worldwide.
Also,
that's a lot of advertising money.
Yeah, people at home on their couches probably want to have a beer while watching the Olympics. So, like, why not push the people that are actually going to buy it and consume it during that time? People sitting at home on the couch.
The guys in the World Cup aren't drinking before the match, but that's weird. I mean, you could make the argument back when it was all amateur and no professionals were. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I mean,
well, I mean, to your earlier point, AB InBev is the latest company to participate in the Olympic Partner Program, or TOP, alongside the likes of Coca-Cola and Visa. How many athletes are drinking a big old Coke right before doing their shot put? Or, you know what I mean?
Make me think of good old Cristiano Ronaldo. And
he moves and
he pulled away. He's like, drink water, whatever.
So it's an interesting thing. Beer companies in particular, sports are, of course, a fruitful market. A 2020 report from marketing service SportCal found that there were 281 active sport sponsorship deals with the world's 30 top alcohol brands, which was worth an estimated $764 million US. Obviously, AB InBev is not going to reveal the cost of their deal with the IOC.
No.
But they're in it for the next three Olympic cycles. So they expect that they're going to make quite the money off of the three next Olympic cycles. And I'm sure you'll be able to see banners in the stadium, commercials in between events, and other odd places for beer and alcohol sponsorship banners and things like that. Who knows? It may even be tattooed on somebody. So there you go. Just a quick bit of beer news. Obviously, you can tell that the world of beer news is kind of dry right now.
Ha ha! I see what you did there.
Thank you.
I feel pretty dumb. That guy, what is he, like a Puritan? What do we got over there? Like is the Witchmaster General back from the 1600s? Yeah, verily, thou shalt not be drinking or talking of thy Budweiser before the match.
We're going to drink this, and then we're going to put the person in the water, and we're going to see if they float. If they float, then they're alcoholics.
Be that a Bud Light in your hand, your team snuggles with Satan. Snuggles with Satan. Sorry, Ferris, you joined us when the Witchmaster General showed up.
You're okay. I was like, I'm going to go get another beer.
I mean, no one likes a Satan snuggler.
No one does.
Thou dost find themselves cumbersome with the devil, drinking the Budweiser. I just can't. Such a weird.
Cumbersome with the devil.
It's such a. I don't know. It's sports is. I mean. It's in the, like, did you say guys from the UK? Yeah. There's like betting crap on everything. I mean, like, whatever, dude. We have other things to deal with.
Is there a bet that's going to be placed? Who has the first beer? Like, how would you know? Like, or who's the first to, be like, screw it. When I win gold, I'm going to go up to the podium and I'm going to do a presser afterwards. I'm going to crack open a nice Budweiser.
Here's what I'd like to see. I need someone like that would have come from the area where they actually brew, around where the Czech Republic Budweiser was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they crack one of those open.
Yep.
It's going to be some shot put dude. Right?
100%.
Those big burly dudes throwing that metal ball.
the deadlift, weightlift guys.
Or the water polo guys. They're sneaky.
Yeah.
They fuck some stuff up underwater. You watch out for them. I remember years ago, I was watching maybe the Atlanta Olympics. My dad going, I was like, water polo. I was like, that looks easy. And my dad just looks at me and goes, son, that sport's brutal. He goes, I played in college. They kick, scratch, pull on things under the water. They do about grab. They do everything. I said, he goes, no. You don't want to play that sport. That sport's brutal. And ever since then, any Olympic I watch, and there's water polo, men or women, and those underwater shots, they're very strategic on how they show those because, man, they grab, pull, scratch, any nasty. Sport. That's why they wear earmuffs. You don't scratch off the damn ears.
Any sport where drowning a person is relatively legal is, not a sport for me.
But even then, you don't really get in trouble for it.
Right.
Let me flip the beer question for you. Not who do you think would be? What would be the best sport to see slam a beer after they've won a match or the competition?
Look, dude, I'm sticking to the shot put because I fully expect some guy to throw the world record ball and then he just picks up a beer, chugs it, and then smashes the can against his forehead. I mean, that's the way it is.
So I'm Googling new sports to the Olympics first to see if there's any good ones there. But one thing that I started laughing about, karate.
Oh,
get those guys nice and drunk, and then they start kicking and throwing things. Heck yeah. Now, the new sports are something called breaking. No clue what that is. Sport climbing, skateboarding, and surfing. You're telling me the skateboarders or the surfers of the Olympics aren't going to have a beer? Give me a break. The X Games is sponsored by Pacifico. Come on.
Yeah.
What is breaking?
I don't know. It just says these sports are
breakdancing.
Bro.
It's breakdancing.
Oh, it's right. It was added to this.
It's breakdancing.
Yeah.
Come on. They're doing more than beer.
I was going to say, they're not sponsored by... Yeah,
a shot of Jameson or something, and then let's get down on the floor, baby.
Oh, that's the one we're all going to be talking about, right?
Yeah.
When soccer's slow, we become a breaking podcast.
The question is, so I used to work for FanDuel. Does FanDuel put up a fantasy breakdancing lineup?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be awesome.
Wow. It's also called break boying and break girling.
I like breaking. That sounds...
Yeah. Yeah. 4 new sports. Huh.
What about I'm trying to think where would look the most ridiculous. Oh. I know. If you don't know what it is, you'll have to look it up. For me, what would make me laugh the hardest would be somebody sashay, but not on 2 legs, 4, because they're doing horse dressage.
Oh, good.
They get to the end of that, and they crack open the bud and sling it back. That would kill me. That would be
on the 100-meter dash, right? Everybody, that's one of the main premier events. Before they blow that gun, you chug a beer first, then you get in the stands, and then you get shot out of it. And now let's see who could break a world record. Good luck.
What if you created a new sport with the javelin? And you mixed it with skeet shooting, but you threw cans of beer that they had to spear with the javelin. Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's some accuracy. Forget distance.
You get sponsorships off of that too, right? You just fire out, here's 12 cans of Bud Light. Just start firing away. But in fairness, isn't that what Kid Rock did? Kind of.
I mean,
Tuesday. Nice little beer news callback.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
We got to move on. This is...
Well, you think, hey, if it's slow, man, breaking... Dude, our podcast becomes Breaking Bad. The Olympic...
Listen...
That's hilarious.
The soccer news is slow during the summer. We might just turn into an Olympics pod. the brutal Olympics in protest of they don't have beer. We might do a pod during that.
But what do you think? What do you think the first beer televised is going to be?
Oh, you mean that someone actually? You mean like a commercial? Like you see someone like in the stands, or
you see an athlete with
Modelo.
You think?
Oh, yeah. Here in the States, yeah.
So you have
that's out.
You have Beck's, you have Budweiser, you have Cass, you have Corona, you have Corona Extra, and all the other different Coronas. That could be a good one too. They got the Harbin. Oh, the beer of the NBA. Hoegaarden. Don't forget they have Hoegaarden.
Hoegaarden.
They have Leffe. They have Michelob Ultra. I bet it's Michelob Ultra. Because they're constantly advertising for marathons.
Yeah, I was looking at their beer list. I mean, you feel like Budweiser is probably what you're gonna see. That's my guess.
What about Stella? That's
odds on though. That's like low hanging fruit.
I know, but I mean, it's popular advertising beer, right? Get Matthew McConaughey, or not Matthew McConaughey, Matt Damon to talk about it.
Love me some Matt Damon.
The games are in Paris. Do they have a French beer?
Well, Matt Damon, Born Identity. Hell of a car chase in Paris with the beer. You give him a Stella and he drives the cab. Well, this is a great commercial right here.
Yeah. And he's like dodging the javelins as they land, and the sprinters are running.
He's trying to outrun in his Mini Cooper. Is that what he drove around there in the streets of Paris? Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
Love it. And it's a Universal film, right?
Yeah. True story.
Peacock and NBC do the Olympics. Heck yeah, you're welcome. I just gave you guys a great idea.
I think Budweiser's the low hanging fruit, but I think Ferris might have some of the Modelo, because I don't know the list you're looking at, Ron, but the one I'm looking at actually breaks it down to what beers are. They have it by region, but then they do another list that is the ones they sell around the globe, period.
Right. Modelo's the most popular.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that does include Beck's, Budweiser, Bud Light, Corona, which also has Modelo.
Yeah.
Pacifico. Hey, Pacifico's in there.
Oh, gosh.
What if the Pacifico is
just a classic commercial that throws just a really just knife edge there to them at the end?
Yeah. But Hoegaarden is also on that list. And Stella, like you said, Doctor, you want to be classy. Could be Stella.
I know. In France? Yeah.
But when we get closer, I think this is we should not count Budweiser. That's but we should do like a bet amongst us and see what ones we pick and what person, because I bet you see a lot of these.
If we did a beer, you know how we used to do for the World Cup, a beer from the host nation, or not the host nation, but all of the teams playing in the World Cup. If we did a beer for every country represented in the Olympics, God almighty, we'd be here all day.
That's fairly accurate.
Yeah, that is fairly. We're certainly not going to do this InBev list. I mean, I do like a Pacifico from time to time, but
and a Hoegaarden every once in a while. But past that,
yeah, Hoegaarden. What was that deli we used to eat at? With the pickles. Always get the Hoegaarden and the slice of orange. Wasn't that
the deli?
Jack's Deli?
Oh, yes.
In Orlando, yeah, it don't exist anymore. They had that giant jar of pickles.
Yep.
Oh man, now I want a pickle.
All right, gents.
The whistle, Ron.
Just that there.
You need to cut. Hold on. You need to cut that sound bite of, man, I want a pickle.
We'll put that on the soundboard for later.
Yep. Yes.
Pickle.
And we're back.
And now we're going to get the pickle from Ferris of the La Liga's Roundup.
Here's the deal of the news. We're gonna Xavi Alonso, Xavi, what's it called? Xavi, Barca legend, manager, has been for the past few years. Followed Klopp, and on after a heck of a defeat, actually 5-3 defeat to Villarreal. came out and announced that he would also, at the end of the season, be stepping away from his managerial duties of Barcelona. And he had a few interesting things to say. Why and how. And Blake, I think you have some quotes for that.
Yeah, the quote that got sent out was, you hear about the news and you're like, oh, man. And then you see this, you're like, oh, right. It's actual human beings that are behind all this. And, that was kind of the same thing seeing Klopp, like obviously like full of emotion when he did his talk. But the quote from Xavi was, it's a cruel and unpleasant job. It makes you feel worthless on a daily basis. I have the feeling that whatever I do, I won't be valued. It's not to do with putting up with the pressure. We came in at such a difficult moment, and I don't think our work will ever be valued. Ugh. Which is wild because that statement got made, and it's like it took out the sales. I mean, there's always going to be some jerks, but it took out the sales of anybody that would, good riddance or whatever. And it was like, yeah, it's actually people that do this, right? Like actual human beings that
yeah. And I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, look at just get on Twitter after a team loses after a team loses a match and you see all the hate that goes to the manager. Why did they make this switch or that substitution? The tactics were wrong. What's this person thinking? Why isn't, Marcus Rashford scoring? Like the amount of hate some of these folks get on a very consistent basis, I'm sure makes them want to just peel up the floor and slide right under.
Yeah. And I was listening to it's either Tony Meola and Brian Dunseth on the counterattack on SiriusXM. I think they made the point. I think it was Tony that made the point of, you look at the press conferences or how each announced their stepping away. Klopp looked content with his, like, hey, he's doing it his time. He knows what he's brought to the club. He knows how he's done it.
Bittersweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He just, he looked like he cared, but just kind of normal in the way. Xavi looked just defeated. Yes, came off of a bad loss, but he just looked like a tired, I don't say beaten man, but a media supporter beaten down man in terms of, which is a shame because he's a legend there, right? It's tough for players to go back and now manage where they left as just absolute legends for that club, going back and then taking on a team that hasn't done great. They've been in this financial just turmoil, Super League tossed in there. It's just been a rough time. Players in and out, not a steady squad. A lot of what Man United's going through at the moment, in a way. But he just looked done. He just looked tired. He just looked worn down. And yes, like you forget that they're just humans at the end of it, right? And he's doing the best job he can. It's just not working for him right now.
And I mean, not for nothing, but a lot of the stuff that comes about the back room of Barcelona, I don't know how much you're holding against the manager over there right now.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, look at the financial pressure alone to keep the club solvent. I mean, we talk about this a lot, but that club and many others similar to it run at a financial deficit all the time.
Well, just think about it. 10 years ago, even just 10 years, a Barcelona manager's out. You're thinking, man, what managers are going to jump on that? And right now, nobody's thinking that like that's a thing, because who wants to jump in? Just like he said, he walked to an impossible situation.
Yeah, and the closest thing I can compare it to it right now is if Ten Hag steps away, who wants to come into Man United at the moment? Now, prior to the Jim Ratcliffe ownership and that sort of thing, that kind of changes things now a bit. But prior to that, who wants to step into that dumpster fire?
Yeah, I mean, even post takeover, right? There's so much to be ironed out. There's so many unsettled things that need to be figured out, and none of that is going to happen overnight. So even if Ten Hag steps away tomorrow or at the end of the season, the next one that pops in, they're still going to have quite a handful trying to navigate a mom and dad system.
Yeah. And in the past year, they've had to, it's just been a mess that Xavi's been a part of, from a managerial, just absolute mess on how they've done investment of players to finances. They've had to pull these levers, which are basically selling the stakes in the club's future business. Players are on loan. They can't buy players, so they have to do a whole bunch of loans. It's just been so chaotic that they have some young talent there. They have some good players there, but what's it going to be like in 2 months' time? What's it going to be like next season? Yeah. And that's what Xavi's had to kind of deal with. And he just looks, on top of that, yes, you are one of the biggest you are the manager of one of the biggest clubs in the world. And if you fart the wrong way, there's going to be a AS article on you of how he turned in the wrong direction. So it's just absolutely wild. And you kind of felt for him there when he announced that.
And also, not for nothing, but Barca's riding the coattails of its predecessors, right? So as time goes by, it's going to be harder and harder for you to get world-class talent at Barca, because it's very, what have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, Klopp leaves and his staff leaves, and Liverpool, no matter what announcement they make, they're not going to have problems signing players who are going, I wonder how things are going to be. They'll be willing to give it a try.
Yeah.
Barcelona, that's a different situation right now. It's got the prestige, but.
Yeah. I mean, if you are a sporting director looking for work right now, would you pick Barca or Liverpool?
Only if you're doing it to have a job for two years, maybe. Not. Yeah.
I mean, you'd be stupid if you got the offer. You'd be dumb to turn down Liverpool over a team like Barca.
Yeah, you're right.
You know who would take it? Let's get Jose over there.
A sporting director?
Managers.
No. Let's get Jose.
A mercenary of managers, I should say.
Yeah.
Who's, I think, for the second time turned down a Saudi offer.
Yeah.
He's like,
talk about him. We know we want him.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get him back eventually.
Premier League. Yeah.
All right, moving on to the spear pickle of the next news article in the Liga's Roundup. Premier League's return, gentlemen. Little midweek matches before we get to the old weekend here. But before that, we'll kind of start off with what was the first game to kick us off on that. Nottingham Forest and Arsenal, which Arsenal eventually won 2-1 due to some late goals, I think, by Saka and Blake, help me out.
Gabriel.
Hey, Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus had a crazy, like such a thin line to get that goal in. I love that the first thought's like, oh my gosh, the man just scored an impossible goal, but has been missing sitters until this moment. But just scored, and if you watch it, you're like, how did that go in?
Right.
It's such an angle and right through the legs of Mr. Turner.
It went so fast it warped space time.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you're like, that's great. Where can we do that some more, please?
But yeah, they held on. But Nottingham Forest today announced the signing of one Gio Reyna, on loan from Borussia Dortmund until the end of the season. No option to buy, though. Gentlemen, did you know this fact? It's a very interesting fact. Do you know where he was born?
I will when you say it.
No, you won't. I bet you will not. He was born in Sunderland.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, right. As right, as the club posted on one of their socials, they said Nottingham Forest is delighted to announce the signing of Gio Reyna from Borussia Dortmund. The 21-year-old has joined the club. He's only 21. Geez. Has joined the club on loan until the end of the season. Born in Sunderland, Reyna arrives at the City Ground, having made 121 appearances for Dortmund since joining the Bundesliga club for New York City FC in 2019, winning the German Cup with the Black and Yellows in 2021. The versatile forward has also played 24 times for the U.S. national team since making his international debut in November of 2020, scoring 7 goals, won 2 CONCACAF Nations League titles with his country, in both 2020 and 2023. Gio will wear the number 20 shirt during his time on Trent's side. Welcome to Forest, Gio.
I think it's a good one for him because he should get some playing time.
It should be, as long as he gets 10 times more playing time than he was getting at Dortmund this past season. I think it should be. And I agree. I think it's a good move for him. Whether he can keep up with the Premier League, whether he can really make an impact, who knows? Americans besides goalkeepers, which he's reuniting with Matt Turner here for a bit, or not reuniting, but playing with the U.S. men's national team player. Haven't always made the biggest impact to teams, especially in the January timeframe. But if he can, great. Just hope that he gets playing time, right? Just gets playing time before we go into a Gold Cup and all the things that we got going on here in the States over this summer and the summers to come.
Well, he's got quite a hefty lineup coming, so we're going to find out what he's about. On February 4th, they play Bournemouth, then the FA Cup fourth round replay of Forest and Bristol City, then right to Newcastle in the Premier League, West Ham, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Brighton, Luton Town, and Crystal Palace, all before the end of March.
Damn.
So we're going to see exactly what kind of impact he's going to make.
Yep. Wow. That is murderer's row there for Forest, who are just trying to survive in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Woo. Some other just midweek matches to discuss before Ron gets into a severe burn it all down moment. Nottingham Forest and Everton. I'm sorry, Fulham and Everton 0-0 in midweek. Palace came kind of from behind to beat Sheffield United 3-2.
Which they needed
Newcastle.
That win. Sorry,
yes, they did. Yes, they did. You're absolutely right there, Ron. Yep. And Newcastle United, a Fabian Schär brace. He's a defender. He's a center back. 3-1 over Villa. So interesting result there. But more interesting than that, Luton over Brighton. Not by like 2-1, 1-0. 4 freaking goals to 0.
Yeah. Where did that come from? No one saw that coming.
I mean, it helps that you get a goal in the first minute and the third. And then you get one right before half in the 42nd, and then one right after half in the 56th. But my God, 4-0 against Brighton?
Wow. In Luton Town with Everton's 10-point deduction. Wow. And a game like that. They could do it. I had a friend back in the UK from when I worked at Disney, and like her parents were involved like minor league with like Luton Town ownership and stuff. I didn't her and her brother, their little stories on Facebook were great. As his brother's like, for a team that says they can't win against anybody and whatever, like they were like going bonkers up there. I mean, just what a great win. I mean, this is one of those things, no matter what happens out of the season, the fans that were at that game to got into the season where they get promoted to Premier League and were at that match, they'll talk about that forever.
Absolutely. Wild. Then today's matches, kind of fresh off the press. Man City beat Burnley 3-1, which you were expecting, I believe. A Alvarez brace in the first half. A professional win from them. And then Tottenham came back against Brentford. This was an interesting game. I didn't get a chance to watch. I'm trying to go back and watch the extended highlights of this, but Neil Maupay, who scored in the 15th, kind of taunted them a little bit with some of the celebrations he was doing. But then a flurry of goals just after half as Ndogi, Johnson, and Richarlison all score 3 goals there to make it 3-1. Tony got another one, but in the 67th, and Tottenham just outlasted Brentford, who have been on a little bit of an uptick with the return of Tony there. Tottenham just continuing to find ways to win. I saw a stat today. Timo Werner has more assists so far this season than Gabriel Jesus, Bruno Fernandes, Richarlison. I mean, it was like a host of 3 or 4 like players. You're like, oh my God, he's been there for like 4 games, if that. So Tottenham just finding ways to win, man.
Yeah, good teams tend to do that.
Jury's still out.
Well,
I mean,
another London team wasn't so fortunate today as the Klopp retirement tour roll into West London there. And let's see, the juice of the Jota, the burger of the Bradley, the Slobosai of the steak, and the donkey of the Diaz. 4 different goal scorers all throughout the game, too. They just 4-1 over Chelsea. Ron, your thoughts?
Oh, my God. I have so many. First of all,
how much of that beer you got left? That 11%?
I don't know if you can see. Not a whole lot. Hold on. I'm going to need a quick chug of this before I start.
And that was a chug.
It's a healthy amount there.
Because I don't want to do a lot of work on editing this pod, I'm not going to curse very much. Because I don't have time for the bleep sheet. So what I will say is, can we get rid of some people, please? 60% of our squad sucks, and most of them are attackers. Get rid of them. Mudryk has not figured out how to make an overlapping run. He has been in this league for longer than a year, and he cannot make the smart overlapping run. He calls for the ball from an offside position more than he doesn't. The only person who's worse than that at that than him is Nicholas Jackson, who was offsides 22 times in AFCON already. What is happening? We have no attack. And every time we do, we've got some BS offside crap going on because our players can't figure out how to attack as a unit. No one understands what an overlapping run is. Jackson just runs offside and then yells for the ball. What is he, Shaq? I mean, what is happening with the attack? I thought Pochettino was supposed to come in here and revolutionize the attack. You can see that he's making slow progress, but this is the Blake. Who's your favorite artist?
Like an art artist?
Yeah,
or like
art artist.
Oh gosh, Jim Lee comes to mind.
Jim Lee. This is like Jim Lee painting with Crayola crayons out of his anus. This is what is
vivid
happening.
Image for all you in the car right now.
You're welcome.
Wow.
This is terrible. Our defense today, which I don't even know if they were on the field. Thiago Silva was doing his best Messi impression and just wandering about the field like he was lost. Every time someone passed him, he held his hand up like they were offsides. They just
he's in like a geriatric state. He's like 74 years old right now. But
so what the hell is he doing there? Why do we continue to play all these players in their wrong defensive positions? 3 times this year, gentlemen, 3 times have we played a back 4 and all of them were native to their position. 3 times. Chilwell was on, got a diving penalty in like the 20th minute, and then they took him off at half because he was ineffectual. I get it. We have injured players. Nkunku came on, and he was the only person who was breathing any life into it. Everyone knows that if you just tie up Cole, we don't have an attack. So all you got to do is push Cole around a bunch, Cole Palmer a bunch, and Chelsea's attack is You also put, which is unbelievable to me, you put Sterling, arguably the shortest player in the Premier League, up against Virgil van Dijk, who is a friggin' giant.
That ain't going to go well for him.
And what did you expect him to do? Oh, my God. I was, just from the outset, I was like, this is going to be terrible. We're just going to get run all over. Our midfield is in such disarray that and they're out of position all the time. So they're making rash, dumb challenges to try and make up for the fact that they're being pulled apart like taffy. And they're booked within the first 11 minutes. Caicedo and Fernandez were both booked.
They had, was it 4 cards for 4 goals?
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I just don't, everyone's like, oh, we're slowly turning the tides. We didn't even put up a fight. They ran right through us. I'm not sure that Liverpool was even that great. Our midfield was non-existent. Our defense was facing the wrong direction the entire match.
Hey, listen, you didn't at least get beat 7-0 by them like United did last season.
No, but I think part of the problem too is, even though it came out, you guys sold a lot of players, the amount of money spent makes watching what's occurring. Mudryk, he was in a bidding war with Arsenal. I cannot be more thankful that Chelsea won that bidding war.
Fair.
And another bidding war for Moses Caicedo.
Yeah.
Which one's the worst $100 million bet? I don't know which one.
Mudryk. Totally Mudryk.
I don't think Mudryk is going to adjust to Premier League. I think that dude will have a great career not in the Premier League. He's going to end up going somewhere else. And you know those players that just don't click here. But you know what I'm saying? They don't click.
He doesn't have vision. He doesn't understand what his role is. It's very clear that he is wandering the attacking part of the pitch, completely clueless as to what he's actually supposed to be doing.
Well, what's up with Caicedo? Because he came out of Brighton doing very well.
Caicedo's at least been hit or miss, right? Like there are games where the trifecta of, Gallagher, Caicedo, and Fernandez are actually slowly becoming some sort of formidable midfield. You can see the glimmers of that happening. Unfortunately, it's horribly inconsistent, and there's nobody that's really protecting the back line. The back line is Swiss cheese as it is anyway. Caicedo, I think, shows at least glimmers of, I know where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. Whether he does that or not is a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fernandez looks good, but he becomes a childish brat when he doesn't get a call his way, and then he goes in for some dumb sliding challenge that gets him a yellow card in this match, right? Like, you're a World Cup winner, and you're supposed to have your, head about you. You're supposed to be a little more professional than this. And who's leading the team? Do we have a leader? Because it sure as hell wasn't Chilwell. He was on and off the field in 10 minutes.
It should be Silva.
Well, Silva, they're trying to drum Silva out.
I don't think Poch. I think Poch finishes the season. But I don't think he's back next year.
I disagree, Blake. I get where that thought may be, but look at, and maybe with Bowley it changes, who knows? But look at the level of managerial change that Chelsea's gone through. Poch has at least proven himself to a degree in the Premier League. He hasn't won silverware and that sort of thing, but he is playing for a finals. He was quoted as saying, "We're not competing in Champions League, so the least we have to do is make it to Wembley." Couldn't think of the name there for a second. He also has a ton of players. Sorry, Ron, I cussed and you didn't cuss the entire time. Oh. But a crap ton of players at his disposal has no clue what to do with. You're talking about putting Conor Gallagher out on loan again, and he's probably been one of your best this season. So, what is he to do? I think you have to give him time, but I don't think at this point, I think you honestly stop spending. Just loan out and just give him a team to work with. What you look at the teams that haven't done well this season. Talk about maybe your big 6 teams that haven't done well this season and are nowhere in there. There's not been a consistent lineup anywhere in there, right? Chelsea, United, those probably being your 2 biggest. But you look at what an Aston Villa has done, an Arsenal have done. a Liverpool have done. More consistent lineups, more consistent back fours, more consistent starting strikers, more consistent so on and so forth throughout the entire lineup. But your Newcastles, your United, your Chelseas have nothing consistent because, well, one, injuries can play a factor into some of those, but then also two, well, for all of those three clubs, but then two, who the f*** are you going to pick? There's a million players at Chelsea. So who plays where? Because you have, as Ron said earlier, a plethora of right wingers, left wingers, nobody going down the center. We have a couple of $100 million midfielders, but what are they doing? You have a geriatric center back along with maybe some bright, talented center backs, but then half of them are on loan. Half of them have names that sound like water bottle companies, and then half of them are hurt.
But what do you do? Like, Mudryk has an 8-year contract.
He might even be at 10 years. Who the hell knows?
I mean, what does that look like? Like, in 4 years, is he still a Chelsea player always out on loan? That's what's going to happen to him, too. He's going to go out on loan, I bet, next year.
Send him to
where?
Chelsea.
Who wants him? Because he's not putting himself up in the shop window at all.
Send him to Chelsea.
Who can afford the wage?
Send him to Chelsea B so he can learn how to attack. Oh, my God. He drives me crazy. Him and Jackson. I think Jackson.
I like Nick Jackson.
I do not. I do not like Nick Jackson at all. You are supposed to be a striker. And
in theory,
you have yet to figure out what offsides is. I can wonder it because I'm a fan. You have not figured it out. The number of times that he runs into an offside position and then points the ball at his feet. I just can't. And does he even know what the goal looks like and where he should be shooting it? Because he's taking striking lessons from Rocket Revis from Orlando City.
Callback.
I mean, you're supposed to be an attacking player. Come on.
As the infamous Ma Dukes has said over the time, who me and Mom years ago got our linesman certification and our ref certification years ago. She said, I never understood one rule in soccer. I said, Ma, what is that? If you're faster than the other player, why are you punished for being offside? So maybe that's why I like Nick Jackson so much. If he's just faster than everybody else in the back line, why are you punished for that? It's a fair point for Ma Dukes.
Reece James came out.
Dude, you guys check the text thread.
Reece James comes out, plays half a match, gets injured again. He's history. So not only do we have most of our first team injured, I really honestly believe that if we had anybody that was in the attack that was healthy, Mudryk wouldn't have a spot. Jackson wouldn't have a spot. Broya, who is the Kara of the Orlando City's Kara of Chelsea. Like, sell him, sell Mudryk, take the loss and move on. Right? You have to get yourself out of this hole.
Next year, see, that's where I question, like, how long it feels like one of those things where, like, another manager is going to have to come in and clean house and, like, but it all comes down to this Bowley situation, like how we don't understand what the front office is, like we don't have a sense of it yet because it's so new and what managers are going to have to say about it. And I don't know, man. Like to your points earlier about what manager would you get though? I don't even know. Like if you're out there shopping and you're like, well, Newcastle might be looking for someone. I'd rather go there than go to Chelsea right now. Like,
this is going to sound really bad, but in fairness, the only thing that Ron can kind of compare it to at the moment is Man United, right? The dumpster fire that we are. But there's at least promise at this point. Now, it took us many years to get there, but there's a group and a person buying in, right? We stole a CEO from Man City over to United who has a very good pedigree. What has Chelsea done in the back office stuff in the past few months that has shown any sort of promise. There hasn't been, beside just tons of spending. The Chelsea's admin coach, who is one of the biggest names in the leaves. I'm sorry, Ron, I'm not trying to be like shoveling, dirt onto you there, but like what in terms of, to your point, Blake, what in the front offices is there to be hopeful about?
Nothing, because the leadership at Chelsea does not communicate with the outside press. So there is no one coming out going, look, we know this is a painful process, but we are on it. We are collaborating. We're trying to do X, Y, and Z to make Chelsea the club you can be proud of. There's none of that. It's radio silent from everybody except Poch. And then you get the typical platitudes from Poch that you get from most B-level managers who are like, well, football's hard and we played well and we just didn't get the goals. I get that when we are actively competing, but a Chelsea team doesn't show up for full games. Only 3 Premier League games this season have we competed well for 90 minutes. This match against Liverpool, we didn't compete well for 90 minutes. We got one good lucky goal because Liverpool switched off and decided we don't really have to worry about them scoring. And then Nkunku just puts one in.
To me, this reminds me of your quote, or I'll paraphrase your quote, when all the like buying was happening and stuff, and you were like, "It's fine, I just don't see a plan. What's the plan?"
Right.
And we haven't seen a plan come out. And I just don't. You take like Spurs would be a good example. Like they get a new manager, he comes in and has a plan. Will it work? Will it not? And it's different how they've been playing. It's working. Sometimes it catches them off guard. But like there's a plan. And even when it's been frustrating for Spurs fans because they lost when they could have pulled ahead a little bit higher into the race, there seems to be a general consensus of like, well, but there's a plan. So I'm still backing it. I'm still, you know what I mean? And I think it's probably got to be the most frustrating thing for anybody supporting Chelsea at the moment. It's just like, I have no idea what the plan is at all.
But at least those guys are, even when they have setbacks in the season, you can see where they're pointing, the general direction. There's passion. Does anybody care at Chelsea that we lost? Because when those players walked off the pitch, it was smiles and, arms around, and no one was like, oh man, we lost again.
To me, what's telling is social media was quiet. Usually there's like the meltdown, and I feel like even the meltdown is like, whatever. I don't know if it's because it was a Tuesday game or what, but
maybe it could be a Tuesday game. It could be the resigning fact that like Liverpool are just that good at the moment, right? But to get beat in that way, because it wasn't like it was a narrow victory or even being completely blown out like that 7-0 that I was mentioning earlier. Like, okay, that's just kind of a weird one-off that team just don't usually beat or have 7 goals scored against them. It was a 4-1 clinical display of which team is better. 4 different goal scorers, all clinical for far less than what Chelsea spent on it. And that's one of the more hard things to, as Ron being a supporter and as I've looked at the United squad, like you're playing Newport County. Yes, you scored 2 quick goals, but then why not score another 3 and completely put the tie to rest? You're Chelsea. You just spent a crap ton. A 4-3 game and a shootout's nothing to be ashamed of. But you had 4 different people scoring against you, from midfielders to center backs to forwards and there's no Salah there. It's just Liverpool's just a better team in general. And they showed it.
Well, as the last word on this, because we got to move, as the last word, I don't know that Liverpool were really that extraordinary because Chelsea were so deplorable. Yeah. Right? I mean, granted, they have a ton of really good players and all that. I think they just were able to capitalize on the fact that we were absolutely abysmal.
In fairness, that's what good teams do.
Move on.
Moving on. Moving on to the end of the show on that note. Our beers the pod. I had the Allagash Haunted House, the Hoppy Dark Ale, which is a mighty fine one. Ferris, what did you end up with?
I had a probably repeat, but a Skyway Hazy Double IPA from Green Bench Brewing. But shout out to Woven Water Brewing in Tampa. Great brewery. I held on to that beer far too long, and Lord only knows what was at the bottom of that beer. So,
I had the New Holland Brewing Company's Dragon's Milk, but aged in bourbon barrels, and it was incredible.
Ferris, you got us the fan quote?
Oh, why not? Of course I do. While playing at PSG and responding to a Rafael van der Vaart, who accused Zlatan of trying to injure him, Zlatan is quoted as saying, "I don't injure you on purpose. You know that. Accuse me again, I'll break both of your legs, and that will be on purpose."
That's a good one.
That's like quintessential.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Well, thanks for listening. As always, share us with your friends, your family, your grandma. We got more grandmas signed up recently. We appreciate it.
We are the pod of grandmas.
That's right. Leave us a review on iTunes. Is that so? 2012. I mean, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called now. Leave a review. Let us know. We'll get something fun in the mail out to you. Untapped, which we have a ridiculous amount of badges since we all bounce all over the place. I love we get the World Traveler badge a lot. And then, X, Twitters, all that stuff. There's a Tumblr. If you go there, there's nothing happening. Does Tumblr exist anymore? I
don't even know what that is.
That's so like 2012.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I hold on to it in case Twitter finally blows up and everyone goes there or something. Who knows? Boom. I think that's it, gentlemen. Ferris, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
What do Fine Wine and Chelsea FC have in common?
Oh, I hate you.
Oh, there's so many options. I don't know.
They both spend a lot of time in the cellar, cost too much money, and are only enjoyed on select occasions. But
well done.
That I was
love the game. Cheers.
I found that one, and it was like, oh no, we're ending with Ron's speech. Oh no. I thought it'd be a callback to earlier in the pod, but it's not. It's going to be following the hate cake. Love you, brother.
Love you, man.
Love the beer. Cherish the game. The beautiful game. Cheers.